everyone, I'm Palina, and today I'm going to share some tips with you to get started with your IELTS speaking test preparation and how you can practice for your IELTS speaking test part 2, also known as the long term. We are going to look at 3 points. First, we are going to look at the general idea of what the IELTS speaking test part 2 is all about. Following that, we are going to look at a strategy which you can use for the part 2. And last but not least, I'm going to share with you some tips to prepare for your IELTS speaking test part 2. So now, let us begin with what the IELTS speaking test part 2 is all about. In part 2 of the IELTS speaking test, you will be given a task card that looks something like this. And you will talk about the topic for about 2 minutes. You may be asked to describe things such as an object of some importance to you, an experience that you can't forget, your favorite person, and so on. For instance, this task card asks you to describe something you own which is very important to you. In the same card, there are also key points which you should use in order to talk about the topic. For this topic, you should talk about where you got the object from, how long you've had it, what you use it for, and explain why it is important to you. You will be given 1 minute to prepare what you're going to say. During that 1 minute, you can make some notes. The examiner will give you a piece of paper with a pen or pencil, so don't bother bringing any of those with you. The examiner will alert you when your preparation time is over and when you can start or stop your speaking. And now, let us look at how you are assessed. Like the rest of the parts of the IELTS speaking test, they will look at your fluency and coherence. That is how natural you should sound in English, whether you speak without many hesitations or repetitions. They will also look at your grammar use to see how well you use various grammar points in your speech. You will need to make sure that you use the right verb tense and the right aspect. You will also be marked on how well you can use a wide range of vocabulary. Last is your pronunciation. The examiner will assess how well you use different pronunciation features, such as individual sounds, stress, and intonation. One thing to remember is that the purpose of the test is to see how well you can communicate through spoken English. It is not, however, to see how many answers you have memorized. And it's definitely not about what accent you have. So don't try to write down your script or memorize it. Just speak naturally. Now that we are familiar with the IELTS speaking test format, let us look at a strategy that you can use to deliver your speech. One way to avoid running out of things to say or forgetting what you want to say is to have your thoughts well organized. For that, you need a structure which you can always rely on. And here is the structure that I like to recommend. First, you want to begin with an introduction. Start by saying what you're going to talk about. For example, I like to talk about my phone. It's always a good idea to expand your answer. So, say why you choose the object or person. Say, I've chosen to talk about it because it is one of the most expensive things that I own, which I bought with my first salary. After your introduction, continue to talk about the past. Here, you should be answering the questions such as how you got it, how long you have had it, or where you got it from. In my case, I can say, anyway, I've had my phone for over a year now. I got it when it was just released in 2017. The phone was not very popular in Cambodia, so I had to have it shipped all the way from the States. Now that you have talked about the past, you can move on to talk about the present. Here, you can give a little more detail. Say, now, let me tell you about it in a little more detail. And continue to describe the object. If you're talking about a phone, you can mention what brand it is, what model, the color or storage, special functions, etc. Then, you can proceed to talk about your opinion on the object. You can start by saying, in my view, or if you ask me. Last, you can talk about what you think about the future regarding the object. You can say, in the future, I think. In my case, I would say, in the future, I think that there will be better version of the model. By following this strategy, you can have your ideas in place. Thus, it helps to improve your fluency and coherence. It also shows how well you can use verb tenses. So, here's the summary of the strategy. First, begin with an introduction. Then, continue to talk about the past. And then you can talk about the object, give a description. Then, continue to talk about your opinion. And later, close with your idea about the future regarding the topic. And now, let us move to talk about how you can prepare for the IELTS speaking test part 2. Practice makes perfect. The strategy I shared may be a bit uncomfortable to use at first, but do try to practice using the format a few times and you'll get the hang of it. While you practice, it helps to record your talk so you can listen to check and correct any errors you may make. Later, you can ask a friend or a teacher to give you comments. Be consistent with your practice. You'll notice the difference in your performance. It's possible that you may get a topic which you're not familiar with or not quite interested in. When that happens, it's difficult to keep speaking up to 2 minutes. Some test takers find themselves at a loss for words. To avoid this, try to get familiar with as many topics as you can by listening to podcasts or reading different online or printed articles. You can find these resources available in our Guild Center as well. In case you're not sure which material to use, meet our language learning advisor who can help you with that. After your reading and listening practice, try to reflect on it. Ask yourself, what do I think about this? Then, try to express your ideas. You should also make some notes of those. Remember, if none of the topics you have practiced and read appears, it's okay to be creative with your answer. Saying something is better than saying nothing. On the test date, all you can do is just to sit back, relax, and talk to the examiner. Calm down. Just speak naturally. Be comfortable. Put on something that is appropriate and comfy. And remember to relax. Talk to the examiner the way you would normally talk to your friends and teachers. They are there to help you. Follow these tips and let us know how it works out for you. I wish you the best for your upcoming IELTS test.